Kelly Sutherland. Boy, oh boy. When he's involved in a Vancouver Canucks game, you can bet she's going to be a long night. We got lucky that he evened up the Sherwood penalty. The slashing on Evander Kane was very weak. Kane actually did a good job to try and avoid being overly aggressive on that play and still wound up with the softest slashing call I've ever seen. And that leads to a power play goal. Marcus Pettersson with an uncharacteristic defensive gaffe. And then Tyler Bertuzzi is all over Lankinen. All over him. Twice. Bumps him in the same shift. And then, of course, is the one that gets the goal. And it's like, how do they miss that? Unless they have a predetermined agenda. Like, it's just so frustrating when there's so many cameras on the game. When you see something like that, it just really, it's all you can do is be mad about it, because it's pretty black and white what a goaltender interference call is. And that first moment where Bertuzzi bumps Lankinen the first time, he's not pushed into him. Lankinen's in his crease and he gets knocked over. That's a penalty on Bertuzzi. Like, Bertuzzi has to give Lankinen his space that he's entitled to. And the second time where he's jumping all over him, it's like, call a penalty. You know he's a rat. Everyone knows his reputation around the league. Mm-hmm. It's not like it's that hard to determine, you're not like, maybe he accidentally bumped him. It's Tyler Bertuzzi. He 100% bumped him on purpose. Like, those are the ones that really get me. And it's not even just that it happens against the Canucks. Like, Tyler Bertuzzi does this stuff against everybody. But that's the type of thing that they need to get called with some sort of consistency. Again, lack of consistency and no accountability for the officials in this league. And it just continues. You continue to wonder, even early on, what Kelly Sutherland is barking at the Canucks bench. Like, everyone knows, Dickinson's in this game and Sherwood might try to take a legal run at him, like a big hit. But no one's going to go out of their way to try and start anything stupid. Like, winning is number one priority for anybody. Mm-hmm. And it's just, it's upsetting to see a ref that thinks he's that important that he needs to insert himself into the game and try and control the outcome of the game when it's not his job. His job is just to be there and to call penalties if they happen. And it pisses me off, man.
Well, Eric Hunter with a $5 dono to try and lighten the mood. Keep it up.
No.
Eric Hunter, thank you very much for the $5 dono. We appreciate you. Welcome back to the chat, my dude. Surprised your credit card didn't get declined after all the donos you made yesterday.
I will say, on a plus side, Canucks did manage to get 11 shots on goal after getting kind of hemmed in there early in this game, being outshot 8-1 to start it off. So closing that gap was a positive. But again, DeBrusk and Boeser just look lost out there together. Like, they're just not a useful duo, so they got to split those two up.
Hundo P, I 100% agree with that. And it was interesting, too, because we normally have all the lineup all ready to go for everyone. I mean, there is times where we don't, because we don't know what's happening. And tonight was one of those nights, because even Batchelor, who usually tweets out the lines, is like, there's 7 defensemen and 13 forwards out there, so I don't know what's going to happen. And here we are. So the only change was Ratchet coming out, Bluger going in. I'm still in my head, what is the standard for what makes you deserve ice time on this team? Because I find it to be a real down when Drew O'Connor gets minutes just because he's got a big body, but he doesn't really do anything out there. So how can you justify taking Ratu out of the lineup to put Bluger back in when Ratu could easily be placed on the wing on a line instead of having Drew O'Connor in that line?
Yeah, I really do not understand the leash that Drew O'Connor gets. I mean, you could tell me that guy is 6'4" and 210 pounds, and I'd be like, no way. No way. He plays like he's 5'5". Like he's so invisible out there. He does not use his size at all to his advantage. And yeah, one time he got 16 goals with the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's like he was probably skating with Crosby most of the time. And yeah, of course, anybody's going to get goals by proximity to Crosby and Malkin and all the other offensive talent they had on that team. But this kid is 27 years old. It's not like he's a young prospect that we're waiting to bloom. Like he should have bloomed by now. And if he doesn't just have that ability to go after the puck and use his size, like he has 2 hits in the season so far. He's 6'4". The whole point is they keep talking about his size and speed. And when he first came over, we talked about him and Hedel being in the top 90 percentile for speed. But one thing that was a knock against Drew O'Connor was the fact that he doesn't have stamina and he doesn't get involved with his size the way he should. And it's so evidently clear. And I just don't understand why he's still continuing to be in the lineup. He maybe is one of those pet penguin things where Alvin's dictating a little bit that like, oh, O'Connor, he's the best, that, you got to use him in this way. And that one really frustrates me. I sent you a lineup earlier that I'd really like to see. I'm just trying to will it to happen. We're so close. We're getting there. We're building. But again, like the first 4-on-4, Pettersson and Boeser out there, and then it not really generating anything. And then you finally put Pettersson and Garland out, and suddenly we're getting some chances in the offensive zone. And boy, it's a bit frustrating to watch at times, but we are moving in some sort of positive direction. It's just taking foot a while to get there and recognize that, like, oh my God, chemistry is a real thing. Because when you look at the Abbotsford line, they just click, right? Everyone knows where everyone's going to be. They cycle the puck well. They're hard on the puck, and no one overcommits, and they communicate very well. There's some lines that get out there, and it's like silent almost, like no one's talking out there, and there's enough microphones, boom mics, and cameras in the building that will pick up on that stuff. So yeah, it's a mystery to me.
So Dickinson out for the first shift. Nothing happens. Do you expect anything to happen at all tonight if the score remains close, or are we gonna have to wait for a blowout game this season to see Dickinson get his up and comings for his hit on Hedel last year?
We'll see what happens. Something might happen a little more organically. We got lots of guys that are physical enough to find a nice within the rules big open hit. I'm sure there's guys that are kind of half focused on that a little too much, which has led to a couple sloppy shifts out there when that line is on the ice. I don't know what's going to happen, right? Like, obviously the ref is aware that there's history, and you saw Sherwood and Foot kind of laughing, and I would expect them to try and get at him in some way, just to deal with it and get it over with. Maybe there's just like an accepted fight between two guys, and we'll see what happens, right? So, I don't mind the way they want to go about it. It seems better to focus on the game first, and whatever kind of happens within the game happens. It's negative energy right out of the gate if all you're focused on is getting revenge on one guy when the 2 points go much further down the road than the morale of just getting even with a guy.
Yeah, some people going back, because everyone's obviously been talking about the Bertuzzi incidents, another revenge, notorious revenge incident, but that wasn't the next game after the hit on Naslund. It was actually a couple games, because the other games they were in a playoff race, Colorado Avalanche and the Vancouver Canucks, so nothing happened. So they waited, and once there was a blowout, that's when the shit went down. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Nothing's going to happen, because obviously every point matters in this season. Demko and Boeser. getting put onto a list to possibly make Team USA. Not a surprise with Demko, maybe a bit of a surprise with Boeser, but what are your thoughts on the boys getting their names added to the list?
I think Besser's might be a product of like, you know, the people just kind of looking at his stat line a little bit too deep in his net. It wasn't even as if he um, was out of position or anything like that. And it could have been that he was trying to play a little bit deeper because they were on the penalty kill, and he wanted to have a little extra time to control the rebound or something, and that left a extra hole for Rantanen to shoot through. And an extremely skilled shooter like Mikko Rantanen is going to find those holes, right? So, other than that, I mean, Demko looks bound and determined to be the starting goaltender for that Olympic team, and he gave Stan Bowman, who is the GM of the U.S. Olympic squad, a real good show when we played against Edmonton in Game 2. So I'm sure they are. I mean, he's definitely on their radar. There was always going to be that question mark of his health, but clearly he looks so far that things are going well. And if the Canucks manage him well and he feels healthy enough to go, then I'm sure he will be on that Olympic team.
We didn't really want to talk about it, but it is something we probably should talk about because the Vegas Golden Knights have decided to be the first team in the NHL to sign one of the 5 members who were on trial earlier this year, stemming from the incident at the World Junior Championship. So Carter Hart has been assigned by the Vegas Golden Knights. What are your thoughts on the first signing out of the gate for any of these 5 guys?
It's an extremely sensitive situation and a very difficult topic to talk about. Obviously, there's a lot of underlying details to this type of signing, and there was court proceedings, and he was found, whatever, not guilty in the court of law. Obviously, in the court of public opinion, a lot of people don't agree with what happened between the World Juniors and the incident with the young girl way back when. You never want to see a victim not believed in their story, and I think that obviously does happen far too often. I'm not here to judge anyone, but I don't think it's a good look for any NHL club to really go down that road with people that may have controversy of sexual assault. I say that as we sit here with someone who has domestic violence controversy attached to him, and it was a big reason why I didn't really agree with the Kane signing. And if people have been watching social media, his ex-wife again is bringing up more demons, trying to get him, kind of blacklisted, and now it's even bringing up mentions of stuff that happened as early as last year when he was with the Edmonton Oilers and a mother of a 6-year-old cancer patient. So, you never want to hear ugly rumors, but the best thing I think for most organizations is to stay away from it. If any organization was going to kind of go into that, I mean, Vegas is known to be the villain of the league. And I mean, they've taken enough heat. They really probably don't care. All they see is a talented goalie that can help them win. And by all legal proceedings, he has been cleared to compete in this league. And obviously, there's controversy between him and teammate Brett Howden, who was called basically a useless bag of pucks by Carter Hart's lawyer during this legal stuff. And so it's a real sensitive thing that I would have stayed away from personally. But I'm not surprised in the slightest that of those players, Carter Hart was the most sought after this issue because of what he did show at the NHL level, but I don't like it. I hope maybe they receive enough heat that they just walk away from the PTO, because he isn't officially signed to a contract. This is still a tryout. However, there has been a ton of negative attention already, so maybe that's enough to wake up Vegas and say, look, I think it's maybe best we just all walk away from this, and Carter Hart can go play, in Europe with Formanton and those guys. I don't know. I just think it's the best for everyone to just move forward.
I guess what I would say is Vegas doesn't give a shit, number one. And two, the
Yep.
other thing that could occur is, and a lot of the times in these kind of cases where the victim will once again try and do another lawsuit or something like that. So you could very well see more legal proceedings moving forward after the fact. So, and that would obviously pull Carter Hart away from the team. If so, that's something that any team looking to sign these guys will have to think about as well. Because it might, despite the fact that obviously they were all acquitted, that doesn't mean that this is over with. So should be, I mean, we don't want to hear about it, but it's probably going to go on for a little bit longer because there's still 4 other players that might get signed. Again, we run out of time. I feel like it's the Abbey Canucks or Matt Damon. We can't quite find the time for them on the Rusty and Dusty Sideshow, but we will. Don't say anything about the game so far, Dustin.
I won't.
But let's save it for the post game show, and we'll chat again then.
Absolutely.
Nothing is perfect.